Hey y'all, welcome back.
It's Wednesday, so you know
We're winging it.
Today we're with our friends Allison and Scott from Jarhead and Ginger's journey.
Yes.
Yep.
And they're going to talk about the journey they're currently on to become full-time RVers. So stay tuned. Okay, before we get started, let's review the rules of Wingin' It. We set the timer on my phone. Since this is a Wingin' It with friends, we're going to talk for 15 minutes. When the timer goes off, we wrap things up. Totally unedited, unscripted, and you get what you get. So, 15 minutes on the clock. We're winging it.
Wow. First of all, Scott and Allison have just moved here from Japan, right?
Yep, just got back.
So your journey started in Japan for this.
Right, yeah. Yep, absolutely. We knew we were coming back. We were getting ready for retirement, and we started kicking around things to do. We were gonna get some cows and live in the hill country, and then we decided that probably wasn't for us, that we'd just get an RV and start doing it, because we got kids on both coasts and one here in Texas, so it made sense for us. And just like everybody else, we didn't know this was a thing, you know. We didn't know people were out here RVing full time that weren't, you know, super old and retired, well, like we are now. Or
You're
whatever.
not super old. Well, so how long ago did y'all start your journey towards full time? I mean, when did you decide that you were going to do this?
It's been over a year now, I think.
I think we started in January because when we went to Vietnam last year, we were checking that out to possibly move to Vietnam or the Philippines or Thailand for retirement.
Right.
Wow, so from Vietnam, Philippines, Thailand, or full-time RVing, that's quite the switch.
Yes, or
Right.
the cattle farm.
Or the cattle farm, that's true. So what was that deciding factor that kind of made y'all go, well, wait a minute, maybe we should move this choice to the front of our list?
I think it was just the fact that we've moved around so much, being either in the military or affiliated with the military, and like we said a second ago, that we have kids everywhere. That if we put ourselves in the middle, we'd still have to travel, you know, all over the place just to see kids when grandkids and things like that happen. So this was just kind of a no-brainer for us.
So you're making this choice, though. As we film this is September of 2020.
Right?
It's been a crazy year.
Absolutely.
You lived in Japan this time for how many years?
8.
8 years. So making this transition to come back to the States, start this whole new life, doing all your downsizing, it's been during kind of this, well, definitely the strangest year that any of us know.
Right.
So how's that been for you?
We didn't want to leave Okinawa, Japan. It's a safe place, wonderful culture. We didn't even have to lock our doors to our cars.
Wow.
And then, you know, coming back to all the tension and the illness, and it's just, we were fearful to leave. But since we've been back, we haven't had any problem at all. No problems.
So yeah, the reports you were getting over there made it seem like it was
Right.
much worse over here.
Absolutely.
Right. The media focuses on stuff, and that's really all we see from over there, you know.
Sure.
Just whatever's on the news is what we got over there as well. So
Right.
we were thinking, man, we can't even go anywhere near a city, and you know, and it's really not as bad as I think they're making it seem.
So on your channel, so far you've talked a lot about your experience in Okinawa. And I know one of your new videos is about the different houses that you lived in
Right.
Okinawa. How has that and your downsizing, do you think that's going to be helpful for you in making the transition to living in an RV? Or
I do, because we were I was in the Marine Corps for 9 years. We did a bunch of moves there, and then when I got out of the Marine Corps, I was working with the military still for 20 years, and we moved locations 4 times, and then we moved like houses at each location a couple of times at least. So I mean, we've been moving since we met in '92. So downsizing for us was still hard because we were in Okinawa this last time 8 years, and we just accumulated 8 years worth of, stuff. But we're kind of used to downsizing as well, because every time you move, a military move or whatever, you're getting rid of a whole bunch of stuff. This time we just got rid of a whole bunch more than normal.
Yeah,
Way
well,
more.
I got a question. You're in Japan, you got to downsize, and obviously you wanted to downsize a bunch before you got here.
Right.
I mean, how did you do that? Do you have garage sales and stuff in Japan, or how do you do it?
Not in 2020.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, the military bases would have one Saturday a month. Each base would have a flea market. That wasn't happening. So even trying to sell stuff through the internet, through Facebook or whatever the sales places were, you didn't want just anybody coming over to your house, and then you had to make sure you're wearing masks.
Yeah.
And just, it was kind of, we donated a lot more than we sold. We gave away. I was part of a charity organization that I was on the board of, so a lot of it that is going to their bazaar sale, and,
Awesome.
and then the base thrift stores.
Sure. And it's funny because even our downsizing, before, a couple of years before all this happened, we also ended up donating more than we sold. Just because, A, it's easy.
Yeah.
B, it's going hopefully to folks who really need it.
Right.
And C, we just kind of had to adopt the mindset that, we enjoyed that while we had it, we got our value out of it, and now it's time to live another life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I know in y'all's past too, though, you've been to Alaska.
Right.
You've traveled pretty extensively, not only just outside of the U.S., but also within the U.S. You want to talk a little bit about that experience?
Sure. I've seen almost all the states except for a couple up in the New England area. But we were talking about it, and we were always in a rush to get to wherever we were going.
Yeah.
We go past, Yosemite or whatever, and we're just on our way somewhere. So we just going through. With this lifestyle, we're hoping, and we're almost positive it's going to allow us to slow down and actually see all these things. And it might take us 6 months to go coast to coast, where before we've done it in 3 or 4 days. So,
Well, like we tell folks, the journey is the destination.
right. Yeah.
And you never know when you're going to find that biggest ball of twine that you
Right.
just have to
Yeah.
stop and see.
That's it.
So now in your search for an RV, y'all have done a lot of research, I'm sure. What are y'all leaning towards? What style of RV, and maybe what kind of RV?
We're really we started looking at bumper pull to begin with, because that's what we had before. We've had 2 RVs in the past, but they were both bumper pull. And we've heard that the fifth wheels tow a lot smoother, so we started looking at those. And we're really heavily leaning right now towards the Grand Designs.
Okay.
So
a Grand Design fifth wheel.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, so you, what is your biggest, do you have any concerns about fifth wheel, or is that just way above everything else for you? How did you kind of reach that, other than the smooth towing that you've heard?
Well, other than the smooth towing, unlike you guys in the Class A, for some reason we pretty much decided early on that we didn't want a drivable, just because you also have to have a towed vehicle.
Right.
So now you're talking 2 engines and the extra maintenance and stuff like that.
Sure.
So for us, it kind of made more sense to have 1 tow vehicle and 1 RV. So when you start looking at the fifth wheels and hearing everybody say how well they tow, and you can't even feel them back there, and then you actually see how big they are and how spacious they are inside, that's kind of what has started us looking at the fifth wheels.
There
But of
are
course-
definitely some fifth wheels that are like moving castles.
Yeah, but with a big fifth wheel comes needing a big truck.
Right.
So what are y'all doing about that?
We've actually hinted at it in our channel a little bit before. We have ordered a vehicle, and it is actually here we're finalizing the paperwork for that, and we will be picking it up soon, and there will be a video on that as well.
Awesome.
And it's going to be plenty of power to pull that puppy, I guess.
Yes. Shouldn't have any trouble with almost anything out there.
So,
That's good.
so when you're looking at different RVs, I know you haven't 100% decided on what you want. You're still, in the process of finding that right fifth wheel for you. What are some of the things that you're looking for? What are some of those check boxes on your list?
It has to have room for all my fabric. I'm a quilter, so I need space for my sewing machine and my fabric. And also we want to have a home office. I will be hopefully teaching online.
Awesome.
And he'll be tinkering with whatever he wants to do. So we need a dedicated office space. So that was a big thing on our list.
So,
That's awesome.
dedicated office space. So, are you looking at a certain type of fifth wheel for that? Like a toy hauler? Is that?
Yes.
And that's what you're going to kind of turn into your office?
Right, yes.
And I understand you kind of like the motorcycle too, so
I
that
do.
might come into play in the future too.
Maybe, yeah.
Yes.
If we do get the toy hauler, definitely, we may look down the road at getting a motorcycle again and driving around.
So what are some of the places, you've been a lot of places already, and I know that you've said part of why you want to do this is to spend more time in those destinations. What are some of the things that are on your must-see bucket list once you hit the road?
We want to go back to Alaska. We lived in Alaska for 3 years, absolutely loved it. We'd love to just head up the coast through California, Oregon, stop in Washington and see his family, and we have 2 daughters there. And then if the borders are open, we're heading to Alaska next summer.
That is awesome.
That's
Hey, maybe
really
we can
awesome.
caravan.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's great. You won't be disappointed if you go to Alaska, guaranteed.
It is definitely high on our bucket list. There's no
I've
doubt
been
about it.
twice, and I
Okay.
actually RV'd in Alaska for quite a while, a couple weeks, in a
Nice.
truck camper
Oh yeah.
when I was a kid,
Awesome.
and it was awesome. There's no doubt, and we will be going back as soon as we
Yeah,
get
I've never
there.
been, so it's a bucket, it's a list I've definitely got to check off for sure.
Yeah.
So you guys are going through the downsizing right now. You obviously did a lot of that while you were still in Okinawa.
Mhm.
Your stuff is en route. It's on a boat somewhere.
Yes.
Once that stuff gets to you, are you still going to be downsizing more? Where are you in that process?
We everything that we packed from Okinawa is either going with us in the RV or it's going to some of our kids. It belongs to our kids, and they're finally going to have to, take it. And then there's also some stuff that is still ours that we want to hold on to. So we're going to try and give a tub of stuff to each of our kids or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So that way we don't have a storage. We don't want to have a big storage or anything. So we tried to get rid of as much as possible. We did have stuff though that was stored in Washington from Alaska that we haven't seen in 8 years.
Okay.
So we're not, there is some big furniture we're gonna have to get rid of, some like chest of drawers and things. But other than that, we don't exactly remember what's in there.
I bet.
It will be like Christmas.
Yeah, but most of that will probably be downsized as well.
And then that becomes the question of, okay, you pull a tub out of there, do you open it? Or do you just say, I haven't seen it in 8 years, I don't know what it
don't
is.
need to see it."
Here you go.
That's a good idea, but I think I'm going to have to open it.
I think the curiosity would be too much for me. I'd have to know what it was. So what tips do you guys have? You're in the process right now. Has it been stressful for you so far? Is it more exciting? Kind of, how are you feeling about the whole journey to full-time RV life as you sit in the middle of it?
Right now we call ourselves homeless, jokingly. I mean, we haven't been in a house for since August 17th, so for almost a month we've been hoteling it, and we've had to change hotels a couple of times for just different situations, lack of internet and stuff. And so hopefully next week we're going to move into a friend's pool house and rent out her pool house for the remainder of our time until we find our RV. But that's been a stressful thing, packing up and leaving. We had to move a dog from Japan that was the most stressful part of this entire process because of the 2020 situation, and a lot of airlines were not flying dogs. So just to try and get them out of Japan was our biggest concern, and we almost didn't. It almost didn't happen at the last minute.
Wow.
So we had to pay a shipper. He couldn't fly with us. We had to pay a shipper to ship him to Los Angeles, and instead of coming straight here to Texas, we had to go to Los Angeles, rent a car, and drive to Texas.
Wow, so all you folks out there that are downsizing in the United States, hell, it's a piece of cake.
You got it easy. Don't worry about it. What tips would you share for the folks who are thinking about doing this in the future?
I would say don't, as far as the downsizing portion goes, don't stress out about it too much. I say that, but I had the easy job. She had to do most of the downsizing. But what I did notice with Allison is that as she started downsizing and getting rid of more and more stuff, it seemed to become more easy for her. So that's one thing I would say. And try to do it from the stateside. Don't try to do it from overseas.
I guess that's a good point.
Because stateside, you can already have all that stuff locked on your tow vehicle, your RV. You can actually go in and see them and everything. We ordered a truck, and I'd never even been in this model before.
That's an excellent point. Yeah, so to this point, everything is really just what you've seen online.
Right.
On YouTube.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
That's
That's
definitely, now y'all know we bought ours, our motorhome, the
Right.
same way, because it was
We
in
bought it
Indiana.
online.
Yeah.
But to do the entire thing, I think would add a whole different level, for sure. So you want to check out more of their journey on their channel, Jarhead and Ginger's Journey.
They're going to be kind of transitioning their channel into an RV channel, I'd say.
Right, yeah.
And showing you, you're going to want to see it when they get it. They want to see it. They don't even know for sure. Right. So,
Yeah.
So tell folks where they can connect with y'all.
We're on YouTube, obviously, at Jarhead and Ginger's Journey. We're also on Twitter. I do the Twitter, and she does the rest because she's social media queen over here.
And so he does Twitter. We have, of course, the YouTube channel, Instagram, and Facebook. And, I can't think of the other thing because I never use it.
So
Well-
we'll link to all of those in the description, so
Yeah.
it'll be easy for you guys to find. And the timer did go off, but for some reason, I guess I had it on vibrate. So this has been awesome. Thank y'all so much
Thanks for having us. This is
getting
great.
together. We
Yeah.
went and had lunch the other day,
Oh.
and they were actually with us the day that we couldn't find Astro for a few hours.
Yeah,
actually.
they
That
had
was
that
stressful.
awkward time of sitting on the couch watching us run back and forth trying to find
Yeah.
Astro. And also, we've been kind of communicating with you guys for quite a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were our Japan followers.
Yep,
and-
so if you're in Japan and you're watching this, leave us a comment so we know there's more folks out there. And until next time, y'all, safe travels.
and happy camping.
Keep on winging it.
Bye.